Number 3. What is the secret of success? The question is as old as philosophy itself. The Greeks argue that it is boiled down to the possession and exercise of certain character traits, such as generosity and bravery. So we can see that from this paragraph that we are going to concern about success. So that is our concerning. And we are asking this question: what is the secret of success? So we were given with a first idea that comes from the Greeks. That is the exercise of certain character traits such as generosity and bravery that brings success. But new research emerging from the social psychology suggests you have to be self-confident. You have to be self-confident to be successful. The study, involving over 200 successful people from all walks of life, comprised detailed interviews and observation of mental and physical problem solving. The research found that all the participants had a strong belief in their own abilities and persevered in the face of challenges because they thought they could do it. So, this is the conclusion. If you want to be successful, then you must have faith in your own abilities. So, which one of the following is the best statement of flow? So we have to search for a flow in the above argument. One flow that you guys can see is that the test always talks about you having faith in your abilities, and this gives you success. But there is also the opposite. You can be successful, and then you will have faith in your own abilities. So let's see something that matches this flow. It relies on different senses of the expression self-confidence. This is not a flow, so we can cross it. Letter B. It ignores the significance of other factors such as luck. The test is not talking about luck, and we are trying to find a flow in the argument, so we need to actually only relies on the information that are given. So we never talked about luck, so this is not a significant factor. It assumes that everyone can become self-confident. Is not an assumption. And also, it assumes that everyone can be self-confident. The test never talks about if everyone can become self-confident. It's just talking about the correlation between confidence and the success. And letter D, it assumes that self-confidence is responsible for success and not vice versa. Yeah, this is actually what we drawn as the flow in the argument of the author. And lastly, and finally, letter E, it justifies a claim on the basis of how things were in the past. No, because the test at first talks about the Greeks' idea about what success was, and then it talks about this research. If we want to be successful, then we must have faith in our own abilities. So we actually, in order to answer a question like this, usually it's pretty helpful to look at the conclusion so that we get the idea of what the authors is trying to say. The authors in this case is not telling us that we need to be generous and to be brave in order to be successful. The authors only told us that we need to have faith in our own abilities. So this is not a flaw, and we can eliminate letter E as well. So we can see that our answer is letter D. Number 4. The presence of a mind requires the presence of self-consciousness. Machines do not have self-consciousness, therefore machines do not have minds. Which one of the following most closely parallels the reasoning used in the above argument? So the key word here is parallels. So we have to find the same type of reasoning. We have to find the same structure that the authors gives us in this paragraph. So the first thing we have to do is to actually find what is the structure of the above argument. So the authors is trying to convince us that the present of a mind, so we have the present of a mind requires, so this is a keyword, requires. So the present of a mind requires the presence of self-consciousness. And then he gives us an example of something that do not have self-consciousness. So machines do not have self-consciousness. And therefore, machines do not have minds. Because in order to have a mind, you need to have self-consciousness. This is the type of reasoning that the authors is giving us. So, if there is a self-consciousness, we have this thing. We have a mind. And if there is not self-consciousness, we do not have a mind. So, this is actually the idea that the authors is presenting us with. So, letter A. The morally best option is that which maximizes benefit. Larger charities are able to provide the most benefit from donations. Therefore, it is morally best to choose larger charities to donate to. We see that these answer do not match the structure of the above argument, because in this case we are talking about the best option in order to maximize the benefits. And we say that larger charities are able to do so, and therefore they are the best to choose from. But this is not something that matches the above argument, because in the above argument we have an initial phrase where we talk about this correlation between the self-consciousness and a mind, and then we bring an example of something that do not have self-consciousness and therefore does not have a mind. So letter A is not our answer. Letter B. To count as an emotion, a mental state needs to have representational content. Depression does not have representational content, therefore depression is not an emotion. Okay, in this case we see that the structure is more or less the same. In order to have an emotion, a mental state needs to have this representational content. In this case, the depression does not have representational content, and therefore depression is not an emotion, because we see that representational content is something needed in order to count something as an emotion. So this answer could be our answer. There is no obligation to keep promises to someone after they have died. Since the virtue of keeping promises is to promote the promises' well-being and their capacity for well-being seized upon death, we see that this structure is not the same as the one we have in the actual argument, so we can eliminate letter C. Letter D. Trust and resilience are not the same thing, because trust is a mental attitude, whereas resilience is not. Okay, in this case we are given two things, trust and resilience, and we say that they are not the same thing, because trust is a mental attitude, whereas resilience is not. In this case we don't have a structure like this, because we are just saying that they are not the same thing. We are not given the why they are not the same thing. In the above argument, we see that self-consciousness is a requirement in order to have a presence of a mind. In this case, we are just saying that they are not the same thing. And we say that trust is a mental attitude, whereas resilience is not. So these structures are not parallels. They are not correlated. Therefore, we can eliminate letter D as well. And finally, letter E. Only true beliefs can be knowledge. My belief that the world is spherical is true. Therefore, I know that the world is spherical. Also, in this case, we don't have the same structure, because we have a belief, and she or he said that the world is spherical, and so that is true because he said so, and this means that his idea is true, and this is not the same structure as the above argument. And we see that our answer is letter B.